Howdy folks, welcome back. You know, a question that shows up in the comments quite frequently is, can we get a tour of your toolbox? And I've been reluctant to do that, mainly because I don't have a lot of fancy tools and there's no slick organizational methods in here. It's kind of function over form. Number two, I don't know that it's all that interesting. But I have been in the shop quite a bit lately, and I've seen a lot of great tool sales around town, and it got me to thinking, you know what, I actually do really love tools. It's a great subject to talk about. I'm going to talk about my tools in the toolbox here, how I got started buying tools, and then also what I hope to acquire in the future. If you or someone you know can relate, then I guess stick around and you can see what all I got in here.
Dig Drive DIY.
When I started thinking about the idea of making this video, showcasing and talking about tools, my mind was swimming. There were so many ideas and things to talk about that I quickly became overwhelmed with trying to figure out how I would possibly cover it all. How would I do the topic any justice? Because let's face it, the term tools, it's an enormous umbrella that has so many fun things that fall under it. Wrenches and screwdrivers are tools, of course, but so are welders and chainsaws, even heavy equipment. If you use it to do work, it's a tool. So yeah, that is a broad subject, but it's a great subject. So I've got to narrow it down a little bit. I'm just going to talk about the tools that live here in my shop and mainly in this toolbox right here. But that got me thinking about some questions that I might be able to answer. There's a few basic ones, like what tools are essential for my workshop? What are my favorite tools? What have I learned from purchasing tools that I could offer up to a young person that's trying to buy theirs? And that led me to deeper, more philosophical questions like, why are tools so dang appealing in the first place? How can I justify continuing to buy new tools? And can a man really have too many tools? So I guess I'll start out by answering that last question first. No, a man cannot have too many tools. So the next question before that was, how can I continue to justify buying tools? Well, that one's easy, because of the practicality of them. A tool is a way to help save time. A tool is a way to enable you to be a do-it-yourself type of person. Owning tools can save you money by enabling you to do DIY repairs and home improvements of all types. You can put your investment in the tools rather than in paying someone else to do something. In the early days, I bought tools out of necessity, so I could justify purchasing them because it made me keep things running. It made me buy stuff that was broken and fix it to use it. Nowadays, I justify buying more tools by saving time. If I can find something that makes a job easier or quicker to get done, then that's a great excuse to purchase a tool. You're buying something to do work, and I think that's a noble cause in and of itself. If you can put that to good use to earn a living or to help others, then even more reason that you can justify continuing to buy tools and add to your collection. But in order for me to justify my stance on tools, I really need to go back to the beginning, and that was with my first toolbox. And this is it right here. This was my first toolbox. I got it back in either junior high or my freshman year of high school. But this is how I started, and I thought it would take me forever to fill up this toolbox. Right now it's full of a bunch of random stuff, and I haven't used it in quite a while. But this is where it all began. So the local Sears was very influential to me when I was young because they had a great tool section. Whenever we would go to the mall, I would want to go to Sears and just hang out and daydream about what tools I could buy. Very similar to how it still is today when I go into a hardware store and stand in the tool aisle. I don't know why that's such pleasure, but the idea of acquiring more tools is always an enjoyable thought. But anyway, I quickly grew out of that little 3-drawer toolbox, and I got my first credit card from Sears. And I wanted to go big time. I wanted a toolbox that was going to last me my entire lifetime and that I wouldn't be able to outgrow. So I bought this one here, this bottom box. Okay, this is a Craftsman box. I think it was around $600 when I bought it brand new. I was probably a junior in high school, so around 17 years old, and I made payments on my $600 toolbox. So that was my first start of using credit too, which was a good lesson to learn. So this one did last me a little while. And when I started doing excavating work right out of high school, my boss that I worked for at the time was really into quality tools. He liked Snap-on tools. He had Mac and Bonnie and Matco. And so that kind of started it for me to where I liked Snap-on tools. And a matter of fact, my first Snap-on tool was this one right here. This is my junk drawer. Here's my junk drawer. Right here it is. This is my first Snap-on tool ever. So I went to the Indianapolis 500 with my buddy Ryan, and there's a Snap-on store, or I don't know what you call it. There's a Snap-on room underneath the grandstands at the Indianapolis 500. And walking into a Snap-on store, well, I walked out with the one thing I could afford, and that was a pocket Snap-on screwdriver. I'd be really heartbroken if I ever lost this. But this planted a little seed. And then working for Paul in excavating and using his Snap-on tools, it made me want them too. Now, I've only bought a handful of tools brand new off the truck. I bought these Snap-on screwdrivers off the truck, these Snap-on scrapers, and this one was sent to me by a viewer, Snap-on Jeff. I bought these. I bought these nut drivers off the truck. I bought this punch and chisel set when I was in high school with this box from Craftsman. That actually might be the only thing I bought new off the truck. But that brings me to my point. You can find and acquire high quality good tools and not pay full retail for them. So I got a whole drawer of Snap-on wrenches that I bought secondhand. And I even remember where I got most of them. These are a little set of Craftsman. And I remember I bought my first Snap-on ratchets. I bought a set with these light blue handles, and I got those at a flea market. It was actually the Kenton Coon Dog Trials in Kenton, Ohio. Coon dogs. We used to go to the flea markets every year, and that's where you'd find Snap-on tools. And then I got this, I always called this Bertha. This was my big Snap-on ratchet. And then I would find some Snap-on sockets too. So I've got Snap-on sockets, but they're also mixed in here with Craftsman. And there's a nice mix of, these are Snap-on, Craftsman. These back here are Snap-on. And these are Matco. These are a really nice set of sockets, Matco sockets. Snap-on back here, and then Craftsman. Here's a set of Mac 1/4" drive sockets. So I got quite a mix. All the tools, my best tools are here in the toolbox. I don't let them travel. Most of these Channel Lock branded pliers with the blue handles. So all these light blue handled ones, my Uncle Howard got me as kind of a starter to just get me going. So he got me a nice set of vice grips, and some channel locks came from my Uncle Howard. And that's how I quickly outgrew that 3-drawer box, because once you get started, it's hard to stop. So I had this bottom box for a few years. I didn't grow out of it right away, and I thought it would last me a long time. But then I have a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, Ryan, is a mechanic, and one of the tool trucks that came to his shop had this Craftsman middle box and top box that would fit on top of my base rollaway. And it was a pretty good price on them. So I bought this middle cabinet and this top cabinet. And so that filled out this toolbox, and I thought I would never grow out of this, obviously. There's a lot of storage. And this is pretty much full of all my mechanics tools, and everything that's in here has been in here since I started wrenching. Back in the day, I had to keep vehicles running. I bought junky stuff that I fixed up and kept it running. So sockets and pliers and wrenches and all the things that you'll use to work on a vehicle were very, very important. And that planted the DIY seed in me. So I kind of always daydreamed about a Snap-on box or tool cabinet, but quite frankly, this is the ball bearing drawers, and it's lasted me almost 30 years so far. A good 25 years for this, and I'm sure almost 30 for this. A couple weeks ago I did that 10 of my favorite things for 2024, and one of them was these socket organizers. And that's went a long way to help improve my socket drawer here. I've got some definite improvement I can do on the rest of the box, but most of this stuff in my main black drawer, I call this the black drawer craftsman box, because whenever I tell someone to come over here and grab something, I say it's in the bottom black drawer cabinet. There is definite improvement I could do to organize it and get it cleaned up, and I got a lot of tools jammed in on top of each other, which isn't ideal, but I know where everything is in here. It's sometimes tough for me to go tell someone where to get it out of the toolbox because I just know that the screwdrivers are in the third drawer down of the bottom craftsman box, and that's where screwdrivers are. I know that pliers and wire strippers are in the fifth drawer down of the craftsman box. So that's just something that's up here and nobody else is going to know. It's my junk drawer. All right, I never really did anything in the top of the box because I'm too short to reach up there anyway. So this is just no man's land, a dumping ground of collectibles and things that I find interesting. That's on my list of to-do one day, is to get that straightened up. But this box lasted me a long time. When I moved into this house here and Kara and I got married, I had this in the old barn at first, where I called that my workshop for a long time. Then this got moved into the garage, and I worked out of there for a while. And then finally, when I built this shop in 13 or 14, I decided I was going to want more storage. And so I went to Harbor Freight, and they had a nice sale going on these two rolling cabinets. Now these, I don't have as committed to memory as I do my main black drawer craftsman box. So I put labels on the drawers, and this is easier to tell people to come get stuff out of. My favorite drawer of these boxes is this one right here. It's been evolving and growing ever since I've moved into here, but this is where my Milwaukee cordless tools are. I put the ones that I use the most frequently here. I've got a few others on the shelf out back, but these are my main, hand tools, the things that I use most frequently. And then it just goes down from there. I've got gear wrenches and tool kits with different bits and adapters. This one I call home improvement. So this one's got a stud finder and a level and pipe cutting tools and a drywall rasp. So anything you're going to use on the house is kind of in there. Rivets and soldering. Saws. You got a hacksaw. These are some miscellaneous power tools. So you got your oscillating tool. My father-in-law calls these an autopsy saw. This is stuff that I don't use that frequently, so like a roto zip and some drywall screw guns. And then same thing here, it's on all these. Drill bits. Got big bits, long bits, chamfer tools. Here's knives and scissors and cutters. Diagnostic tools, test light, temperature gauges, a couple staplers. I don't use those too much anymore. And here's a miscellaneous drawer. DA sanders, taps. I like to keep the things that I use the most frequently in the top big drawers. So you've got power tools here, you've got the grinder and grinding wheels, and then it follows on across to sockets and rest. So these are kind of my most frequently used things, are right across the top. And then this is kind of miscellaneous. I have never even finished these out. They've all got stuff in them, but it's all just kind of miscellaneous junk. Pry bars, clamps, big C clamps. Okay, a drawer full of like random pieces of wood. That comes in a lot handier than you would think. Here's a drawer full of excess consumables for the grinding wheels. When you're not a great welder, you gotta have a lot of grinding wheels. So I do. Got squares and a protractor. Tapes. Ooh, there's an empty drawer. I should put some in there. Some grease fittings and some alligator clips, O-rings, miscellaneous hand tools, snap-on handle, I don't know what for, and string and stuff. So there's definitely room for improvement, but this is basically my, hand tool collection and assortment. It's got Stuff to work on cars, stuff to work on homes, stuff to work on metal, just a wide range of stuff. And like I said, it's constantly evolving. This is one thing I need to improve next, is like the charging station. This I just threw together, and it's something I hope to get a chance to work on soon. I'm going to jump back over and keep working on that extension cord reel, and then maybe we'll look around a little bit more when we get a little farther along with that. So after going through those toolboxes and thinking about how it all started, what would be my advice to a young person just starting out, buying their first tools? It would be to buy the best tools that you can afford. Skip on buying the junk. Don't buy the junk stuff just to have tools. Buy some quality tools. You have to buy something that's expensive enough that it's going to be painful if you lose it. Now, I don't want it to put you in debt, but you should have to save a little bit for the good stuff too. I bought most of my Snap-on and Mac tools when I was young and still single. I didn't have to answer or explain to anyone an expensive tool purchase, and that's easy. I was able to get what I wanted, and now I'll have it for a lifetime. But nowadays, it doesn't have to be Snap-on or Mac. Harbor Freight has a really good line of hand tools branded as Icon, and they are not cheap, but they are high quality at an affordable price. Some people say the Icon tools are the same wrenches as the Snap-on wrenches. So, I mean, they're pretty good. That would be a great place to start for someone that wants to buy their first set of wrenches or sockets. Get the high-end stuff at Harbor Freight. There's different levels. Buy the most expensive thing at Harbor Freight. Otherwise, you can buy used tools at garage sales or flea markets or off Facebook Marketplace. That's what I did. They're still high-quality, good branded tools, but they're usually half the price. They still got a lifetime warranty on them though. What tools are essential for my workshop? Well, I put this in there because it's kind of a trick question. They're all essential for this workshop, right? Because they've been tailored by me for what I do. Of course, there's some I haven't used in a good long while, and sometimes something new will take the place of something old, but you won't see me getting rid of anything. So it's hard for me to draw a line on what is essential because everything in here has a place, or it wouldn't be in here in the first place, right? What are my favorite tools? Well, all right, I've got two categories of this. I love all the tools that I've had the longest. So some of those Snap-on ratchets and screwdrivers and wrenches that I've had from the very beginning, well, I plan to take them with me all the way to the finish line. So those are obviously my favorites. But on the other hand, some of my newer tools are my favorites because of the ones that make life easier now. All the Milwaukee cordless tools I've been getting lately in the last couple of years are making life a little bit more convenient. And I've got to take the most pleasure in those types of tools lately. I think you go through different seasons in life. The early part is the season of necessity. And now we're entering the season of convenience. So I'd go for whatever makes life easy. I made a mistake. I drilled the big holes in the wrong side. Got to going too fast. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can fix it. It's gonna be painful, but I think I can fix it. Got this cut off. I got the big holes drilled in the bottom plate, the top plate now, the way they're supposed to be. Socket will go through like that. There it is, rebuilt with the small holes on the proper side and the big holes on the other proper side. Let's paint it up. All right, we will let that dry. I'll show you a few things beyond the toolbox. I thought I'd just show you a few of the main things in the shop that I use the most frequently and the things that I think are important to have in a workshop if you do the types of things I do. Number one is a little welder. This is a 110 volt MIG welder from Lincoln. I bought this. This is one of the very few things I bought brand new way back in the early days of my early 20s. Everyone needs a good welding table. If you're going to be doing kind of fabrication work and clamping and vicing and welding, you need a good welding table. This is a secondhand table I got for free. Somebody was getting rid of it. If you keep your ear to the ground and keep a close eye on Facebook Marketplace, you can find something like this cheap. This is a Miller plasma cutter. I got that as payment for installing a yield monitor on a combine. So that would have been in my 30s probably before I got the plasma cutter, but a great tool to have. Chop saw. This is one of the best tools to have too. I got this one at a garage sale for $25. This is a drill press that was given to me by a mechanic friend of mine named Tim Gray. And you ought to have a drill press. I've been looking to upgrade this drill press for quite a while now. I've had this one for I don't know, 15, 20 years probably at least. It's critical to have a good vise, and this one is not terrific. I have another vise that I've purchased to put on here, and I've put that off for a decade or so and haven't done it. I just keep getting by with this one, even though the jaw comes off every time. And that's sometimes the way I roll, is like squeaky wheel gets the grease. This hasn't been squeaking loud enough. Really, as far as tool storage goes, these filing cabinets work out great. And I've got some of the bigger case tools, like this is a Sawzall that I've had forever, Nikita Sawzall. I keep a buffer in here. This is my electrical toolkit drawer too. This is kind of my overflow tools. So I've got a brad nailer and a skill saw and a body hammer kit. There's this circular saw that's worn out. Got a Craftsman cooling sensor tester. Some miscellaneous stuff in here. And then I got a buffer polisher. And then this is a 3/4 inch socket set. I actually use this a lot, but this is actually my dad's. I just borrowed it one day and never took it back. Fortunately, he knows where it is, so sorry, Dad. And then some of my newest tools are just back here on the shelf. I really haven't come up with a good place to store them yet. I've got the Milwaukee cordless tools that I've been kind of latched onto lately. This has kind of been my newest obsession, is these Milwaukee, the M18 cordless tools and the M12 stuff. I really like the M12 stuff too. So if anybody wonders what to get me as a gift, this is the ticket nowadays. All the cordless tools are fantastic. You just got to pick a brand and go with it. But oh man, it is so fun to get this kind of stuff. Well, obviously, if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you know that the tools go well beyond what's right here. I've got chainsaws that have served me so well over the years, and it just keeps going from there. You've got a backhoe, a skid loader, dump trucks. They're all tools. If you use it to do work, then it's a tool. And I've been fortunate to acquire a pretty good eclectic mix of cool tools. But enough of that for now. I want to see if I can finish up this electric cord reel, and we'll see how it works. Here's another tool, cordless impact. So finally, there's the big philosophical question to answer. What makes men and women attracted to tools in the first place? Well, I think it comes down to this. Men and women often enjoy tools because they provide a tangible way to solve problems. They can provide a sense of accomplishment and control by creating something with their own hands. And they can be seen as a symbol of DIY reliance, a symbol of self-reliance. Is that strong enough? I'm hanging from it. All right. It'll hold me. And undoubtedly, there's a primal component to it, I'm sure, because it's got to be derived from the need of tools to hunt and survive and shape the world around us and provide shelter and provide safety. Okay. This is a hoss. Oh yeah, that's easy. It wouldn't have had to have been on that swing, but that gained me a little more extension for my cord. I'm going to use that all the time. Now I'm going to carry the drill. All right. Okay, now I can get this fender mounted on this side. Well, as of today, this heavy-duty extension cord reel is the newest tool in my shop. But unfortunately, like the title of being the oldest person in the world, it's not likely to hold that position for long. But being centrally located now in the ceiling, it's long enough to reach all four corners of my shop. So basically, I'll just have one cord that I can grab a hold of. I can run the welder off of it, I hope, and the drill, anything I'm going to power. You can even run the band when we have band rehearsal out here. So I'm excited to try it out. That's the beauty of tools, is that there is a sense of fulfillment and accomplishment when you use it. There's a sense of money well spent. But I think that basically, for me, it comes down to this. Tools give me purpose. Without tools, I don't know what I'd be doing with my life. I mean, quite frankly, my purpose in life is channeled through the tools that I use to make things happen. I would say that's it in a nutshell. So if you've got some interesting thoughts to share about tools, please drop them in the comments. Tell me about your first tool or what your thoughts are on Snap-on versus Mac versus Craftsman and the cheaper stuff. I know there's a lot of debate and controversy out there. Most important thing is just to buy some tools. Have some basic hand tools and then get the things that make life easier. Otherwise, it's that time of the season where I want to wish you happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I'm thankful and I'm looking forward to spending some time with family and relaxing and watching the kids have a good time. So I wish you well there, and I want to thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for clicking on this video. I hope that you liked it, and if I'm lucky, I'll see you before the year is out. All right, take care.